Psychologist Ryan and Zenner in the 1930s developed an experiment to test if a person has ESP, or extrasensory perception. The experiment involved playing cards, or big cards, that were blank on one side, and then on the other side had one of 5 possible symbols. It could be straight line, curly line, triangle, square, etc. And the subject had to correctly guess the symbol when they were shown the blank side to see if they had any extrasensory perception. And they've usually done this a number of times, maybe 50 or 100 cards, to see how many they could get right. So for this scenario, we're going to let pi be our population parameter, and we're going to let pi denote the population proportion of correct guesses. So what we assume if we were to take everyone in the world and give them, say, 100 of these cards, it's a proportion that people would get correctly. So I want to write my null hypothesis. Again, this needs to be equal. So a proportion needs to equal something. We're going to assume that people do not have ESP, that this is just guessing. There's 5 cards, so you'd expect if they're just randomly guessing, our null hypothesis should be 20% or 1 out of 5. So the null hypothesis is the assumption that people guess randomly or get the cards correct 20% of the time. I would have been our alternative hypothesis. Well, in this case, we don't know. We haven't done any testing yet, so we're just going to assume it's not 1/5. A proportion might be more than 20%, might be less than 20%. We're not sure. So the alternative hypothesis is that people may or may not have ESP. And there is our null alternative hypothesis for OneProportion.